Hey Will, thanks for sending me swing videos. What I saw on video was kind of your natural golf swing, which you had before you came to see me, and it's been a couple of years, so it makes sense that it would just kind of go back, and it did. Um, there's a lot of hook stuff in it, potentially, or maybe some pushes if you sort of hold off release a little bit. Mainly, what I saw was back to a very low left arm, but low left arm is not necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't match up very well with a shut club face because a low left arm rotates more than a high left arm. So really good players who are shut club face guys like Brooks Koepka or Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa kind of does it, Victor Hovland, excuse me, they are faders with a pretty high left arm. And so having a shut club face up here isn't the end of the world because the left arm is not going to rotate as much as it comes down as it will from in here. So you have a pretty strong grip. Over time, I wouldn't mind seeing it chill out and getting a little more neutral because then these things will be easier, but you're not going to want to change your grip right now. If you do have a strong grip, I'd suggest working on this drill. I've got two drills for you. One's for your wrist conditions and your arm swing, and the other one is for your right arm action. So we'll get to the right arm in just a second. Drill number one, you put an alignment stick across your toe line, take some kind of middle iron, and your takeaway in the early stage of your swing should be just like you're tossing the club along your toe line to somebody. So it's a little tiny bit deep right now, which goes along with the rest of your backswing. So feel like you're right along your toe line and stop right here and check to see your face. And you want your face to be just tipped in a tiny bit from vertical, or kind of mirroring your spine would be square at this point. And you'll notice that I took a pretty strong grip to demonstrate this. So if I do this and I'm in a good position with my club face, my wrist looks like that. So there's a fair amount of cup still in my wrist. I have not flattened it. So from here, you check your position, make sure that it's correct, look back at the golf ball, wind up, and hit the shot. So you hit shots from right here, just kind of going through this stage, making sure the club's across your toe line, making sure the face isn't too shut. When you go to the top with a strong grip, you just need to kind of maintain a little bit of this cup so that when you go to the top of your swing, the leading edge of the face and your left arm come pretty close to matching up with one another. And I would like to see the second half of the swing from here to here be a little bit more up so that the club shaft is just over the outside of your shoulder and your arms are elevated a little bit. We'll see if we can't work away from here and just a little tiny bit higher, which will make life easier for you. So you'll hit balls from here, stopping, checking, finishing, hitting, and I wouldn't mind having you put an alignment stick right along your target line, sticking in the ground straight up and down, 15 or 20 feet out there. And just in practice, try and start the ball left of the stick and have it fade back to the target. So just practicing a fade to kind of tighten up your draw a little bit, make sure it's not too big. So that's number one and drill number one. Number two, which goes along with your pretty flat arm swing, but your right arm is sucking behind your body again, so it's getting way back here. And you only have 0.2 of a second from here to impact, so it's kind of tough to get your arm back in front of you, and good players are always worrying about keeping their arms a little more in front of them. So you should too, I think. Part of this is at address. So if you set up, in the first place, you want to train your right arm to work in this way. So it just kind of gradually folds and stays in front. So from this angle, it would look like this. Your right arm just kind of goes this way. There's a drill where you put your hand, if I drop this, there's a drill where you put your hand underneath the end of your tricep there and just kind of put a little light pressure this way with your left hand, and you just go boom, boom, and that's where you want to be. So the right arm goes like this, left arm goes on, the arm can be here, the arm can be here, but it's pretty much in front of you, not behind you. There's a little trick to getting there, which when you set up to the ball, your lower arm can move independently, obviously, of your upper arm. So this is called internally rotated, this is called externally rotated. You want to shoot for a little tiny bit of external with the right arm, and a little bit of a soft bend at address will help you get there. So I always say elbow pit out. So the elbow pit would be right here on the inside of the elbow. It's not going to go straight out, but it's going to go maybe at a 45, which will put you in a position where your right elbow kind of points toward your right hip at address. So getting your right arm externally rotated from the get-go, if it stays externally rotated as you go back, you'll be in front of yourself and you'll have a way easier time of getting your arms back in front of yourself as you come into impact. Better impact position, better ball flight, it's just all going to be better. So there's a drill that goes along with this. I think some of it's just getting into a slightly different address position and training your right arm that it goes like this, not like that. So the drill Louis Oosthuizen does, he says he does all the time, is you set up to a golf ball and you keep your hands right where they are in space and swivel and hinge so that now your right arm faces all the way away from you, completely external. From there, you just wind up and hit the shot. Videotape yourself when you're doing that and see what kind of position that puts your arm in. He does that drill to keep his arms in front of his body. So I think that would be a great one for you. And yeah, it's just training to make sure that that arm works this way, but not that way. It's a tough position to recover from, and you're kind of there right now. So I think those two drills, remember with a strong grip, your club face is relative to your grip. So the club can be a little bit closed, that's fine, but just not super closed, which it was pretty closed with a driver, like really closed, along with a very low arm. So to me, that's like, to play decent golf, you got to hold off what wants to be a hook. And yeah, I just kind of see if you can reverse it a little bit and say, all right, I'm going to have a little bit of cup in my wrist because I have a stronger grip. And when I go to the top, I'm going to feel like I still have a little bit of cup in my wrist. But you can check yourself with an iron, like I've got this short club and I can see the face, and the face is pretty much parallel to my left arm. So you can check yourself to make sure you're okay there. All right, hopefully that makes sense, and let me know if you have any questions.